Welcome back to the Coronavirus Cream Spot. I'm your co-host, Rob. Welcome back to the Coronavirus Cream Spot. I'm your co-host, the delicious Nicolicious.
Hey, Rob Dog right over here, too.
I got my friend Rob with me, and if you think I can do anything with Rob by my side, and if you think that Rob isn't better than God, then fuck you.
Yeah. We don't have time for that negativity.
I had an old family member this week, an old uncle. I'm going to call him Ted because I don't want to use his name on here because he's kind of a fucking prude. But
Pork Knuckle?
That's not Uncle Pork Knuckle.
Okay.
He said, I listened to your broadcast.
Broadcast?
I said, what the fuck is a broadcast, dude? He said, I listened to your broadcast. I only got about 3 minutes into it, and I had to turn it off. I said, well, it's not like, it's kind of like sucking your own dick, Ted. Grandma's not going to do it. Someone's got to do it. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you.
Told him, I said, Ted, not like sucking your own dick.
No.
There's nothing like that.
Not at all.
If you can't suck your own dick, congratulations. We don't care about you or the capabilities that you possess. We haven't.
I'd be so jealous, though.
I nearly gas out trying to tie my tennis shoes right now at this given moment.
Same.
It's hurtful. So here's what we're dealing with this week. Last week, Rob took some of his recording equipment and he left some of it behind.
Yeah, I did.
So we're kind of dialing in the microphone here.
We can adjust it after the fact too, but
he's quiet.
I'm really quiet. I've been looking at the WAV files, and
I don't want to. How loud do we want to turn you up?
We can do it after the fact.
No, we can't. We have to do it right now. Look at that. That's a little better, right?
Yeah. Hello. Okay.
There you go. Okay.
It's probably going to give a bunch of background noise, but it's okay.
I don't know what to do. We'll pause it for a second and hear how bad it is or how good it is.
Yeah.
And we're back. We found a magical button called High Z.
Yeah. It just wavelengths are still a little small, but it's okay. It sounds better to me.
We're gonna write them.
Fuck them.
Tell them their product is a piece of fucking garbage. Is what we're gonna do.
It's okay.
Actually, they give us really good stuff. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, we're just stupid and don't know how to use it right.
All right. I have some Patreon pledges, and then I'm gonna tell you a little story, Rob.
All right, I'm ready.
Let's start off with Travis Sims. Travis, thank you so much for your Patreon pledge.
And right along with him, next we got Christina Sims. Thank you.
And Austin Payless, the Bayless brother. Thank you so much for getting all up in it the other day. I appreciate you, Austin.
William Peck. Thank you, sir.
Jessica Lawhun. She's not doing the law, sir. She's doing the Lawhun. She's performing the duties of the law.
Skiller, the Zodiac Killer.
He's really here.
Hey.
William Murphy. Thank you, William, for listening to the podcast.
We got Race Istrab.
I feel like that's foreign of sign.
I think so.
It might be French. And last but not least, Sarah Polwart. If I had a wart on my pole, that would be the day that certainly my wife would kill me that day, for starters.
Yeah.
But I'm going to want to go to the doctor after that one, if you know what I mean.
I do.
So I was talking to a friend this week at work, and he kind of goes... he's our age, okay?
Okay.
But he does a lot of different stuff, and he's still single and just out there doing his thing.
Right.
And he's a handsome guy, but he doesn't necessarily try and chase the ladies down, okay? He just kind of collects Pokemon cards and shit.
So he's gay.
He's not. Oh, I thought he was. Anyways, I'm getting to that right now.
Okay.
So I was sucking his dick, and I looked up and I said, so are you or aren't you? And he just said, get back to sucking my dick. No, but he was telling us a story. He goes out to which I don't do this, and I've never done this. He goes out to the bar every Friday and Saturday night. Mm-hmm. To me, that's expensive. That's a lot of money poured down the drain.
Oh, yeah.
But he goes to the karaoke bars, and he gets the fuck down, okay? He just tears the motherfucker up. He gets down. He picks it up and puts it down. So he goes out, and he meets a couple. And he said the guy was a little bit weird, but he said the female, she was pretty good looking.
Okay.
And this is not my thing either. I'm a very jealous human being, and I'm a one dog owner, okay? I'm very protective of mine and what I have going on. But they said, do you want to come back to our house for some whatever?
Hell yeah.
And my friend's like, he hasn't been laid in a really long time. So he says,
Right.
yeah, I'll go back and we'll do whatever. With I guess there was some type of notion that it was just going to be him and the woman.
Okay.
And so they go back to the house, and he said he just absolutely gets into it, just does what he's supposed to do, God's work, you know.
Yeah.
He's really doing his thing. But the entire time, the guy is just sitting next to the bed watching.
Okay.
I believe this is a cuckold situation. Yeah. Very fucking weird for me, all right?
Yeah.
Very weird for me. Anyways, he's watching, and then he finishes the guy's wife off.
Okay.
And the wife's like, oh, yeah, that was... I don't know what's after sex sounds for a woman.
Yeah.
You know? I gotta go clean my hole out. I don't know what the proper thing to say, you know. So she's like, I gotta leave the room for a little bit. So she leaves.
Uh-huh.
And my friend just like, oh yeah. And he kind of forgets that this guy is, because he's a little bit drunk. He forgets that the guy is still in there.
Right.
And he just kind of closes his eyes for a second. And then he opens his eyes to get his bearings back, okay?
Uh-huh.
And this guy is standing next to him, standing up with his dick a good 2 to 3 inches away from my buddy's mouth.
Oh, my God. Oh, man.
And I think the expectation was the guy's like, you ain't gonna fuck my wife and not suck on my dick. That woman ain't sucked my dick in a long time. You gotta do it,
man.
And he said, I was just so frightened because I was in their house, which that's a really vulnerable place to be, in somebody else's house like that.
Especially somebody if you like just met them. Like you don't know if they're going to fucking, he could just tie you down and fuck the dog shit out of you.
That's why I told him, I said, you got to be more fucking careful, buddy.
Yeah.
I care about you. I love you, bro. I mean, I want to be the one doing this. I don't want to be the one doing this stuff to you, but you got to be careful about where your travels take you. And he said he wakes up and this guy is just standing right next to him, dick hanging out, and their eyes lock for a moment.
Oh, man, you got to avoid eye contact at all means necessary.
And I said, I keep on wanting to say this dude's name, but I don't want to dime him out. I said, was his dick hard? He said, his dick was so fucking hard. So then I asked the next question. I said, well, did you? And he said, no, I just fell back asleep. And I said, did you really fall back asleep? He said, no, but I pretended to. I said, how long did that guy stand there all hot and heavy next to you?
Right.
He said that this guy went to work on himself and took care of himself, just standing there next to my buddy trying to go fucking drunk back to sleep.
Damn.
Yeah. And I said, that's why? There's no reason to dabble in that. It's scary. I talk about it. I don't want to suck anybody's dick.
He's probably sitting there staring at his butt cheeks while he was jerking off.
Dude, I eat too much pizza. I do not want to. I know what my stuff probably tastes like.
Yeah, I would have been really scared if I was him.
Really scared.
Yeah.
And I said, was it a big dick? He said, it was a really small dick.
Still. To be that confident with such a small dick, that's the guys you got to worry about.
Hey, I think you could maybe do me a quick favor.
It's not real big, so it shouldn't be much work for you.
This is going to be really easy. And I'm just thinking about, we live in a different society now, man.
Yeah.
Whereas my parents, I think, swinging has been a thing for a long time, but
yeah. I'm
old school. You got one lady. I love that lady. I take care of that lady, and that lady is my beginning and end. But that'd be a really scary situation. It's to be laying there, and you wake up, and there's a dick hovering over your face. And Rob and I may joke around this podcast. To each their own.
Yeah.
Do your own thing. Be free. Have fun. I hope it feels good. But if I woke up and there was a dick hanging over my face, I would be scared. I would be very scared.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to think either, man.
And the only thing that would be scarier than that is if it were my own dick. If there's just some guy standing like, hey, you know, like you're pretending you're take someone's nose. Yeah, your nose. You wake up and it's just a fat guy standing there in a pair of tighty whities with shit stains and piss stains.
Got your dick. I got your wee wee. Look at this little thing right here. It probably looks like your nose, but that's actually your dick.
Give my dick back. Alrighty, so that's what you've arrived to here at the Brohio Podcast. One thing that hit real good is the fart from last week. A lot of people enjoyed the fart from last week. The fart that hit third gear.
Yeah.
If you do want to go back and listen to that,
the racing fart.
The racing fart. The racing racist fart. I like it a lot. This next one, it says, gym staff's horror after man leaves showers covered in poo and he wasn't even a member.
Oh, man.
Gym staff were left retching when a foul-mouthed man allegedly defecated in their... defecating.
I love that word.
In their changing room showers, and he wasn't even a member.
Dude, when someone says defecating, like, you automatically just think of just an exploding watery shit. Like, that covers all the walls.
I think it comes out like an anvil, just like a perfect square, just something really heavy with a...
It's like a cow patty.
Nuclear sign on it. Gym owner Ben Bardsley was horrified when staff alerted him to a member of public who was reportedly getting abusive at Holman's Health and Fitness Center in Stockport, Greater Manchester on Wednesday. Okay, so this was in Canada. I'm just kidding. I think that's Great Britain, right?
Sounds right.
Okay.
I don't fucking know. 2
female members of staff claimed they had tried to confront a man who had used their showers only for him to refuse to pay and threaten them with a barrage of abuse. However, the women had no idea what was in store for them when they followed a, quote, vile smell that had left in the showers, stinking out the entire gym. One staff member named Kirsty, who did not wish to give her surname, discovered feces splattered throughout the 4 showers. He says, I'm not going to poop in one of your showers. I'm going to poop in all 4 of your showers. I'm going to take me a big old Rice Krispie shit right in the middle of your showers.
That's what they eat, right?
Rice Krispies.
Just Rice Krispies?
That's it, yeah. Meanwhile, this is in honor of the prince and princess. They're back. They were back this week for some kind of, the redheaded one with the Brazilian wife. I don't know their
Oh, yeah. Harry,
that's right. They were back this week. They were dressed up like royals.
Huh.
Meanwhile, one shower head had been broken off and seemingly used to try to find something in the man's bum. What the
Good.
Fucking shower nozzle up his ass.
Kinky motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. I'm fixing to put this shower head up my butt.
You ever look up on the wall and just be like, man, I wish I could cram that shower head up my ass. I've had intestinal issues before where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to need a shower head crammed up my ass. This is fucking bad.
Especially one in a public gym.
Yeah.
Those are the best ones.
Poor Kirsty and her colleague had no choice but to clean up the disgusting mess, leaving the duo nearly throwing up throughout the cleanup operation. Horrifying images show the mess that was discovered after the man left, as well as photos of the alleged perpetrator outside the venue showing staff his middle finger. Ben, 38, remained on FaceTime with his staff throughout. He was the owner of the gym. As he watched the shocking incident unfold and witnessed their horrible discovery. Ben from Stockport said they were both retching and it had to run out the toilet to compose themselves because they were just obviously finding more and more of it. Jeez, the pictures don't do it justice. I only showed a little bit of it in the photos. There was poo all down 4 showers, bits of it up the walls and everything. There was
He defecated.
bits of poop.
Just poop nugs all over the walls.
Mine comes out like a Pringles can. It doesn't come out in bits. That's for people who eat a lot of salads. The little splatters of poo were everywhere, and it wasn't even like dog poo where you could pick it up. It was really shit. Kirsty, also of Stockport, said, I was at the counter with another female member of staff. We have a policy that members come straight to the counter and sign in, but he just walked past. We asked if he was okay, and he ignored us. So my colleague walked down to look where he had gone. She couldn't find him in the gym, and I was aware that there was only 4 other members in at the time, and I couldn't see him in the gym. We peeped our head around the men's shower. You can't see the showers, but you can see the benches. He'd put meters and meters of blue roll on a bench and stacked it up really high. I thought this is a really weird. He just come for a shower. not brought a towel or change of clothes, and clearly he's got blue roll to dry himself. What the fuck is blue roll?
I have no idea.
After the man reappeared 30 minutes later, Kirsty asked if he'd used the shower and kindly asked for him to pay, but soon the situation became completely out of control. I'm not going to read the rest. This is a really fucking long article.
Holy shit, it is.
This guy shit in the shower, okay? That's enough of that. Oh, man. I'm really unhappy with people that shit in showers.
When you got to shit, man.
God. And now, maybe, or maybe not, some words from some of our badass sponsors. All right, so here's the thing, Rob.
Okay.
This is a story about a man, a really mysterious disappearance.
Mm-hmm.
This is some crazy stuff.
I'm ready.
Some crazy, all kinds of weird stuff. There is a journalist that covers this. We might try and call this guy at the end if we have some time. But this guy, he got killed almost. He got gotten for trying to stick his nose in places that he shouldn't stick it.
Typical journalism.
But this is a freelance guy. He kind of works for himself. He doesn't necessarily work for anybody, so it's
good for him.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. All right, here it is. Round about March of 1977. So this is back when women had very furry vaginas.
Yikes.
This is when this takes place, March of 1977.
So glad we live in this day and age.
Yeah, well, speak for yourself, asshole. This is surrounding the story of one Charles Chuck Morgan, or as we like to call him, Chucker the Trucker Fucker here at the Brohio Podcast. He was 39 years old at the time of this incident. He looked like he was 67. I don't know how that worked out. People just aged a lot faster back then.
Oh, yeah. All the drugs.
A lot of drugs. But I think he was pretty much on the straight and narrow in terms of drugs and alcohol. He was pretty free and clear of all that stuff. Pretty straight-laced dude. But sometimes that doesn't always pay all the bills, if you know what I mean.
I get you.
It was a pretty run-of-the-mill white-collar guy. And I think a blue-collar is a guy that scrubs shit out of shower stalls. A white-collar guy is someone that crunches numbers and does computer work.
Oh, okay.
We had a pause there. My wife called me. She's a target. She said there's no goddamn toilet paper. We need shit tickets in this house.
This just drives me crazy.
This coronavirus thing.
Yeah, this scare.
I don't want to derail this too much right now.
Yeah.
She's there trying to buy toilet paper.
Uh-huh.
Rob uses special toilet paper.
Yeah, it's called ass wipes.
Oh, they're called... What are they called? They're not called... They're wet toilet paper.
Yeah.
The flushable. So, at any given time, if you see him out, and you say, "Are you Rob Dog from Ohio?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, I'm Rob Dog." He's eating a fucking chili dog from the gas station.
Yeah.
And then you'll say, "I would really like to eat your butthole." And he'll be like, "Yeah, that's cool because I keep it real clean down there."
Yep. Nice, tight, and pink.
And I was thinking about that. When I was using the bathroom the other day, I kept wiping. And as long as I kept on dragging this toilet paper through my butt, through my crevice of my ass.
Still leaving skids, man.
There was little brown specks no matter what I did. And it got to the point where I couldn't distinguish the difference between shit and blood. So I just kept on going. Eventually, I caused a reaction. And
did your asshole fall off?
I had to go over to my friend's, your house, and I had to get it pushed back in.
Yep.
Everything pushed back in.
I took care of you.
Bend over and touch your toes. I'm going to show you where the monster goes.
So quit buying all the goddamn toilet paper. Some of us got to shit. I know some of you people don't poop. That's great.
Yeah, you wash your fucking hands. That's all you got to do to prevent it. Unless you're a little kid or an old fuck.
Whatever.
You're in the clear. Don't be buying up all the toilet paper. People who really got to wipe their ass. Just wash your fucking hands, you imbecile.
It's completely not fair.
I'm completely immune to corona, so I don't have to worry about washing my hands.
I'm immune to everything.
Right. Yeah. Me too.
Okay. Charles Chuck Morgan.
Yeah.
White collar guy. Hell of a nice guy. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't personally know him.
Right.
He lived in Tucson, Arizona, or as we like to call it on the Brohio podcast, Tucson, Arizona. I'm not exactly
Tucson
100% sure on Tucson or Tucson, so you could just let us know the proper pronunciation on that.
Oh, they will.
He worked as a head escrow agent at Statewide Escrow in Tucson, Arizona. And I tried to think of a list of, and I was doing my research, and I said, I want to make a list of professions that males do that would just immediately make me want to fuck their brains out. Top of that list was an escrow agent.
Of course.
So that immediately got me rock hard researching this guy. He looks like Kenny fucking Rogers, and he's only 39 years old.
Nice.
He's you know.
I think being a race car driver would be pretty fucking sweet.
That would be pretty cool.
I'd fuck a dude that was a race car driver.
Well, I had to do career day at Sophie's school a few weeks ago, and I went in.
Did you church yourself up?
I tucked my shirt in, and I brought electronics and stuff and voltage meters, and I made this stuff with batteries.
Uh-huh.
And these kids like, oh, cool. And I looked at the teacher. I said, am I the first one to go? And she said, yeah, you're the first one. And I was like, I bet you the next 3 guys are cops, aren't they? And she's like, actually, the next 2 are police officers.
Like, God damn it.
Yeah. I was like, I know, fucking fuck them. You know?
They're going to forget about you in like 2 seconds.
This is my canine. This is Gambit. This is the back of my police cruiser. This is where your mom and me made you.
And I was just really glad that I got to talk to these young minds before the cops got to them, okay?
Corrupted them.
Yeah, the cops killed one of the kids. And that's why it was really nice to have me there. Someone that didn't fucking kill any of the kids.
That's very true.
It's very true. And I told the kids, I said, there's lots of things that can pay the bills, okay? Cops are fucking scum. Say that. I love our law enforcement friends. But I had a really good time talking to the class. This one kid, he raised his hand. I told him, I was like, I work on robots. And he was like, he raised his hand. They put their hand over their head and hold their other elbow. And I was like, go ahead, buddy. He said, my mom has a job. I'm like, oh, that's perfect, kid. Kids that just say the fucking dumbest shit. And I kept on getting kids like that. They would hold their hand up, and I'd pick them, and they'd be like, do you work on Transformers? No, I think that movie's terrible as well. So lots of fucking cool questions like that.
You gotta love it. Kids are fucking weird.
They are really weird. I don't want any.
No.
Charles, or Chuck, as everyone knew him, had 2 daughters, and part of his daily ritual, he would take them to school, then continue on to his office as an escrow agent in Tucson. He would do this every day. But March 22nd, 1977, this day was a little bit different than the rest of them.
I remember that one.
But it started just the same as the rest of them. 70s were a hell of a time, dude. You ever watch some pornography from the 1970s?
It's like jerking off to a time capsule.
It is.
What was that off of? That was off of a movie.
Step Brother. He's like jerking off to a time machine or something
like that. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, the Playboy magazines.
That's
one of my favorite movies.
There you go. Yep, that's it.
You know, it'd be good for your arm if you lick my butthole.
It's one of my favorite movies.
It's so good.
So on March 22nd, 1977, he said goodbye to his wife, Ruth, or Ruthie as we like to call her.
Baby Ruth.
He gave her a roofie this day. He gave her a roofie, and he fucked her with a roofie.
That's what you do, right?
He didn't use his penis. He took a roofie and he put it in her this specific day.
Okay.
Not specific, this Pacific day, because they were going to the ocean that day on March 22nd, 1977. He said goodbye to his wife, Ruth, and he took his 2 girls to school that day. Later that night, around the time he normally would arrive home from work, he didn't show up. Didn't show up back home. So this was very out of character for Chucker the truck fucker, and his wife was very concerned about him.
Yeah.
I would have already...
He didn't say he was going to get milk.
He didn't tell her. You can't just disappear like that.
Hey, honey, I'm going to go get a pack of cigarettes.
Can't lie to the wife. They always find out. It doesn't matter what you fucking do. You lie, and they'll find out.
Women are crazy.
I used to work as a correctional officer. briefly. Okay,
I don't think you've ever mentioned it.
I never. But one Christmas, me and two of my buddies, we said, let's get dressed up and leave for work, and then we will call off of work. We will call in sick. We will go Christmas shopping for our wives and have some brews, and then we'll go home.
Hell yeah.
And I said, that sounds fucking awesome. Because that year, my wife and I decided we're not going to do Christmas for one another because we want to focus on the kids. But I wanted to, I'm gonna splurge a little here. I'm gonna go Christmas shopping and not tell her. Some fucking guy I work with, I hope he listens to the podcast because there's pictures of him in lingerie that I can have sent to me right now. So fucking try me, dickhead. He calls, and this, I'm not even going to call him a friend anymore. He got a flat tire and his car broke down. So of all the people that he decides to call in the entire world, this guy wasn't even really my friend. He calls my wife and asks her for a ride. It was just completely weird, which made me
that is weird.
If I'd have known what was going on at the time, I'd have killed the motherfucker. So my wife says, this is kind of fishy. I'm going to call Nick at work, and I'm going to ask him if it's okay if I go pick him up and take him to where he needs to go. She calls, and the captain's office says, he fucking called off sick today. So then my phone starts blowing up when I'm at Dick's Sporting Goods looking for shoes for her. It starts blowing up, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And then I get the text, you can fucking die in a car fire because you're lying and sneaking around. And I'm like, I talked to her, and I said, this is... And it's one of those instances you can't talk yourself out of it because you did something sneaky, but I wasn't being sneaky.
Yeah.
I was trying to do something nice for her, but it was still being fucking sneaky.
Right.
And I said, here's what happened. I called off, and I was going Christmas shopping for you, and I did have a trunk full of Christmas gifts at that time. So I came home, and she was a little upset. No, I'm just kidding. She was a lot upset, but it blew over. We worked it out in an hour or two eventually, once she decided.
The moral of the story is, if you guys are sneaking around, just keep a box full of gifts in your trunk.
I guess, dude. I was upset. This dude, of all the people in the world, he decided he called my wife. Call my wife for a ride. Call your mom or something, dickhead. Call the chick that gave you the lingerie that you had your pictures taken in.
Yeah.
Call her. And fruitcake. Jesus.
Oh, man.
So, Ruthie, she's really concerned that Chuck hasn't arrived home from work. So she's so concerned that she called his office to check to see what the holdup was. And she was informed that he never showed up for work that day. She didn't hesitate and immediately reached out to the police to file a missing persons report. And you see it a lot in true crime stories, but oftentimes you see it where a husband or a wife will just leave. And a lot of times they meant to do what they did. They're tired of their fucking life. They just run away to go start. Usually, there was something that happened in Xenia around here a few years ago where a mom disappeared. And I was watching. I said, it's sad. She got babies and stuff, but she just snuck off with her crackhead boyfriend. And once it all came to fruition, I'm like, I would really, really like to take a tube sock, fill it full of my own shit, and slap her in the fucking teeth with it. It's called a turd bomb, and I make him.
That's why you don't do crack.
If you would like to buy one of Nicolis's turd bombs, I have an Etsy channel. I have an Etsy where I sell tube socks full of my own shit, and you can use it for your boss. You can do pranks with them. I do ones with eyes, so then it's like a shit snake, but it's a tube sock with shit in it.
Etsy.com/poopsock.
Slock. That's what it is. That's in prison
Poop
when you
sock.
put a lock in a sock and hit somebody.
Yeah.
That's called a slock.
That's fucking good.
It is good. Why have a slock when you can have a poop sock?
It's even better.
And it wouldn't hurt either. Like you got hit with a poop sock.
Yeah.
Unless you're someone that's got really hard stool, which you're
Or
not.
if you freeze it, maybe.
Yeah.
Freeze your turd.
Someone with really hard poop isn't going to want to make poop socks because poops aren't going to be enjoyable for them.
Right.
They're going to hurt. Oh, but and like I said, we see it a lot in true crime stories where, not necessarily true crime stories, but a lot where a spouse will just leave.
Yeah.
this was not the case in this one. But we got to build the suspense a little bit here. What would be the motivation for an escrow manager to just vanish for no reason like that? In your opinion, why would he just...
Cooking the books.
He
got caught.
I guess. I mean, there's so many different directions you can go with it, but that's, in my opinion, certainly would be something if I were an escrow agent. I just had it disappear all of a sudden. But I'm thinking a mistress, honestly.
Okay,
more. It's usually 9 out of 10 times someone else is in the picture. Unfortunately,
Someone seen him like scratching his asshole and then smelling his fingers afterwards.
You gonna eat that?
I would quit. That's why when I do that, I make sure nobody's around.
So we got this. Oh, never mind. I'm very much part of the Google ecosystem here, and their newest thing has a camera in it, and I'm just like laying there scratching my nuts the other day, and I hear it like,
Are you just gonna lay there and scratch your nuts all day?
and I put my head up. I said,
Fucking dogs are talking. We gotta go. We gotta get the fuck out of here.
and it was my wife. She can see me through the camera. Then I'm trying to think about how many boogers I ate that day.
You're sitting there in her underwear. She just doesn't say anything.
Yeah. I got a mop bucket full of Mountain Dew. I'm just drinking it and watching ESPN.
It's like, don't worry, honey. These panties were already dirty whenever I put them on.
Oh, wait. I know you're probably really concerned about this shit stain right here.
How do you wear a thong without getting shit stains all over?
I don't know. Mine would be ruined.
You put a thong on me, and you rip that bad boy off. There'd be brownie batter all over.
It's full of Skyline chili.
It's disgusting. That stuff will hurt you.
Yeah, well.
Oh, man. Puffy nipples and thongs. Don't listen to this show. Thank you. 3 days later, after this guy goes missing, in the middle of the night, Ruth heard a thump on the back door at 2 a.m. When she opened the door, there Chuck was, frantic but alive. Chuck was missing one shoe when she opened up the back door, and there he was. And to make things even more weird, he had a plastic zip tie handcuff around one of his ankles, and he had the same plastic zip tie handcuff around both of his wrists. Ruth noticed that as frantic as he wasn't speaking. He kept pointing to his throat, and she finally realized that he couldn't speak at all, so she got him a pen and some paper to write on. And to quote Ruth, I was in bed, and the dog started barking. I got up, went to the door, and opened it, and there was Chuck. He was missing a shoe and had one plastic handcuff around one ankle and a set around his hands. When he motioned to his throat and didn't say a word, I asked him, "Can you talk? Can you write?" He shook his head, yes, so I went and got a tablet and a pen. He wrote that his throat had been painted with a hallucinogenic drug.
Oh, wow.
And that the drug could drive him irrevocably insane or destroy his nervous system and kill him.
Man.
I wanted to call a doctor and the police, but he was adamant that would be signing a death warrant for the entire family. Chuck was very insistent that Ruth move his car, and he didn't want, quote, them, in quotations, them, to know that he was home. She continues to demand that Chuck contact the police or at least a doctor so a proper report can be filed. And this has got to be a fucking chaotic scene right here in this house.
Hell yeah.
Especially whatever was... I can't even begin to think of what that possibly would be that was painted onto his throat that could keep him from talking or fucking kill him if it... Unless this dude was so naive that they just wiped peanut butter on his throat and said...
Flex Seal?
Yeah. Hey, if you fucking talk with this Flex Seal. But wait, there's more!
They just cut his throat and just slap some Flex Seal on it, so then if he pulls it off, he's fucking gonna bleed out.
Oh, I use Flex Seal and I have diarrhea.
Spray it on your asshole.
Yeah. The doctor doesn't like it, but it's my life and my life is mine. I'm really trying to think, like, what the fuck would have been put on his throat to shut
I can't
this
think of anything. I fucking don't know.
I really hope it was peanut butter or Flex Seal. If there was Flex Seal, they were trailblazers, because this is before Flex Seal. I want you to understand that this is not normal peanut butter. This shit will fucking kill you, man. If you try and talk, it'll kill you. If you drink it, it'll kill you. Your wife, her name is Ruth. She's probably really ugly.
Damn.
All right. Like I said, he kept on saying that they would put a hit out on his entire family. For the next week, Ruth diligently took care of Chuck and nursed him back to health. She even resorted to feeding him with an eyedropper to keep him alive.
What? She's not a fucking kitten. She's like a fucking sick kitten.
I got some mother's milk for you right here.
He's like a fucking puppy with parvo.
Hang on a second. I need you to blend that Hot Pocket up and put it in an eyedropper.
Fucking eyedropper. Oh, good God.
I need you to put my Doritos in an eyedropper.
I had Stacy put my Taco Bell in an eyedropper last night.
Oh, man.
So I just want to get myself completely into Chuck Morgan, okay? I want to see what he was going through getting nursed back to health by an eyedropper.
Just filled with mild salsa.
I'm so fucking fat. I was just eating the eyedropper.
Oh, dude. You're right.
Give me the fucking thing.
Starving.
You're not squeezing it fast enough.
Did you piss in that? Tastes like piss. Sorry, that's my eyedropper I used for my pee hole. Jesus. While he didn't even regain his ability to speak right away. While still writing her messages, he alluded to having a secret identity with the federal government.
Yes.
And this is from her. He wrote, quote, "They took my treasury identification. That was the first I'd heard of it. And he told me he had been working for them for about 2 or 3 years, and that was it. He also went on to tell her that he was indeed a treasury agent that was working against several organized crime syndicates."
That was your first mistake, buddy.
And I had no idea what a treasury agent was, and it's like he's essentially a special agent or a detective for the IRS.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about Erwin R. Shyster, the father of Bray Wyatt. I'm talking about the Internal Revenue Service, okay? Don't come at me and pretend I'm not a fountain of WWE knowledge.
That was pretty clever.
Okay.
You got me there.
After about a week, he actually started... Mike Rotunda is his real name. It's not Erwin R. Shyster.
Okay.
Okay. After about a week, he actually started to regain...
Drugs finally wore off.
It's a miracle! It's a Christmas miracle in Tucson. After about a week, he actually started to regain use of his voice. He told her that he had been kidnapped and tortured.
Okay.
You're not gonna believe me.
It's like when Walter White disappears in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
My wife would be pissed, man, if I just disappeared and I came back and I'm just like, I can't fucking know. She's like, yeah, you get the fuck in here. We're going to figure this
Like,
shit
no,
out.
motherfucker, you better start talking.
You're wrong. You're lying. You're a cheating snake. You can talk. I'm like,
No, really. They put peanut butter on my throat. I need you to feed me with an eyedropper. Please don't pee in it. Please don't pee in the eyedropper. I love you so much. Where's our peanut butter? I hate this fucking dog. Get him away from me.
oh, so he starts to regain use of his voice. He told her that he'd been kidnapped and tortured. His captors had taken him somewhere near Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, which I've been a million times, where he managed to escape. And this is where I start to raise some red flags right here. This is a little strange to me. I don't know what kind of abduction operation allows you to just escape
Yeah, that's...
and have your car right there. It doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if you're abducted and taken someplace far away, you're not going to just be like, poof, like Chan, or is that his name in The Hangover?
Yeah.
You just
Mr.
break
Chow.
free- Mr. Chow, and then your car is right there. That's a little fishy to me.
Yeah.
And,
A little convenient.
and Tucson is where he worked, and Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport is a solid 2-hour drive from Tucson. I don't feel like his car would have been close by, given these circumstances.
You wouldn't think.
While it is safe to say, after something like this, life is never, ever going to be the same. But we got this 39-year-old guy, big rim glasses, Kenny Rogers looking, salt and pepper hair, now going to extreme measures to keep himself safe from extreme violence. So, just like 50 Cent, this guy starts wearing a bulletproof vest everywhere he goes. In 1977.
That's gangster. It's trend setting right there.
It's very OG. He changed his hairstyle and he grew a beard. And his routine changed from the norm exceptionally. Instead of just taking the girls to school, his daughters, he began picking them up as well, which is nothing fucking crazy.
Right.
He went to the school to be very clear with the administration. Under no circumstances was anyone to pick up his girls from school, as there was mounting fears that something or someone had intentions of doing harm to his entire family.
Okay.
Very strange. I keep on talking about pissing this eyedropper. It's making my eye starts watering really bad every time I talk about it, and my nose is runny.
Eyedropper seems like a better idea with each second, right?
It's the corona. It's coming to take me down. And with all these precautions that he's put in place, it appeared to his wife that things had started to slow down, comparatively speaking. She kind of thought that, okay, whatever the fuck happened, albeit strange, I will give him the benefit of the doubt, and we can let things get back to normal. Then things changed again. Chuck reached out to his own father, Chucker the Trucker Fucker Sr., and he advised his father that there was a hidden letter. He didn't say where the letter was, just that it would be made available if something ever happened to him. The letter described his dealings and who was responsible for his disappearance if it happened again. And I don't know why he just wouldn't be up front and be like, goddamn mafia fucking fuck me up.
Yeah.
And he would never say. Which the hope was he was doing enough and taking the proper precautions that he wouldn't need to disappear again, whether it be on his own or by someone else's power. Well, whatever he was doing to try and keep from disappearing didn't fucking work. 2 months after he disappeared the first time, Chuck went missing again.
Damn.
And there's an interesting note here. He told his wife he was working for the Treasury Department, but he also, in passing, told her that he was aware of some money laundering, but wasn't directly responsible, and the less she and the girls knew, the better. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, do you remember when you used to have a butt-smacking, ball-flapping good time, and you were ready to do it over and over and over and over, and you had the stamina and the confidence, but now all that's gone, and you're sad down there? Well, we can revive your weenie. BlueChew.com. They're going to give you your first shipment free if you use the promo code BROHIO. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. It's ready anytime you are. Day or night, empty stomach, full stomach, it's ready when you are. And Blue Chew is prescribed online by a licensed physician, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. And it's made right here in the USA. And if you want to try Blue Chew, you just go to Blue Chew, just like the color blue. BlueChew.com. Use the promo code BROHIO, and they're going to send you the first shipment free. That's right, free. All you got to cover is $5 in shipping. You send us a screenshot of your order to brohiopodcast@gmail.com. We're going to send you some free sticker swag. Take it from me, guys. This stuff will rev you up, get you going, pick it up, put it down, hanging from the chandelier, bouncing off the ceiling, bouncing off the floor, breaking it, busting it wide open. Do the Blue Chew. At the time of this incident, Arizona stood alone in one aspect. Arizona allowed blind trust ownership of real estate. Now, you're probably thinking, I have no fucking clue what that means, which is exactly what I said.
Yep.
This simply meant in Arizona, you could buy and sell real estate without being traced at all. You could be a completely anonymous buyer of real estate. This is magnificent for people that want to do really, really bad things, make a lot of money, and not get caught. The only person that would have any slight idea of your anonymous dealings would be your escrow agent, a Chuck Morgan-like figure. So he probably knew some shit that he wasn't supposed to know.
I would say.
And that Don Devereux guy, the investigative journalist, he gets into that a little later. So he goes missing for a second time. This time, he didn't come home after 3 days. 9 days went by with no trace of Chuck. And what's strange to me, the police told Ruth, this is really weird, that he was alive, and that's all they would say. She kept on going to the police, like, oh, I need help, my husband's missing. And they would just say, your husband's fine. Just bug the fuck off. That's really weird, man.
Yeah, you think you'd definitely want some more details after. Like, well, first off, how do you know he's alive?
Yeah. And that day, much like the same, he was set to drop off the girls, and then attend a Masonic meeting later. Oh, here we go. He had a Masonic meeting later that night. He was in the fucking goddamn Illuminati, and they got him. Speaking of the Illuminati, Alex Jones got arrested for a DWI last evening.
Never forget.
Rest in peace.
Yep.
By late afternoon, he still had not made it to work that day. He called his work from a payphone from a downtown payphone.
I hope he has enough sick leave for all this.
I know, for real. And for those listening that don't know what a payphone is, it was a telephone with a cord on it. They put them on all the street corners. You could put a quarter in that bitch, and you could call people.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pretty accurate description, I would say.
Well, they're so fucking stupid. So stupid.
Now, where when he called his work from the downtown payphone, he told them that he would arrive for work in a half an hour, and he never showed up for work. 9 days into this disappearance, Ruth received a very perplexing phone call from an unknown slut, a woman. She might not have been a slut, I don't know. And all this bitch said when she called Ruthie answers, and I can't remember. Okay, she's quoted, and I don't have it in here, but she answers the phone and she says, hello. And the strange woman says, Ruthie? And Ruthie was, the only person that called Ruthie was Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman said, Ruthie? And then she said, yes. And then the woman says, all she says is, Chuck is all right, Ecclesiastes 12, 1-8, and then hung up the phone. That's so fucking weird, man.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And Ecclesiastes is a dumbass Bible verse that says...
Is that really how you pronounce that?
Ecclesiastes, yeah.
Nice.
I went to church camp. I went to church fat camp.
That's right.
If you go back to the Hillary Clinton episode, you can hear about my incident with...
fat camp.
Yeah,
church
fat
camp, I mean.
Fat church camp. And the Ecclesiastes 12, 1-8 says, men are afraid of a high place and of terrors on the road. Remember him before the silver cord is broken and the golden bowl is crushed. Then the dust will return to the earth as it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it.
So what the fuck does that mean?
Oh, man. I'm trying to run back through all this. He goes missing once, comes back, can't fucking talk, says he's a federal agent, starts to vest up like he's in a turf war with the Mexican cartel. He goes missing a second time. The police aren't helping, but know he's okay.
Yeah.
And then now this strange phone call.
Okay.
One thing that wasn't made clear to Ruthie, there was someone's investigation. I think it was Don Devereux. It was discovered, and I think the police knew this. He was working accounts for Ned Warren and Joe Bonanno, both huge crime families. And Ned Warren was known as the godfather of land fraud. And these guys were fucking blood shark mafia members that were operating all across the country. And he was running accounts for both of these huge crime families, mafia crime families. And 2 days after the mysterious phone call, on June 18th, 1977, Chuck Morgan's dead body was discovered laying next to his car in Sells, Arizona, about 40 miles away from his home. And you would think that this guy, he could have been running from a lot of shit. And it just only gets, he's dead now. Chuck is dead. Chuck the trucker fucker, he's dead. But the circumstances surrounding this dead body make you want to say, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
And to say this crime scene made little sense would be an absolute understatement. And here's the list of things that were strange about this crime scene. When they found his dead body, they said it was suicide. They said he shot himself in the back of the head. Now, who shoots themselves in the back of the skull? So
weird angle.
Still wearing his bulletproof vest. And no one in the entire world, except for maybe someone that's cornered, shoots themselves wearing a fucking bulletproof vest. The whole entire reason to wear a bulletproof vest is to not die.
It's to deflect bullets.
This guy shot himself in the back of the head wearing a bulletproof vest.
We should have put that vest over his head. Would have solved that problem.
Someone please help me get this thing on my big fucking head.
They put Flex Seal on my asshole. Help me.
I can't poop.
It hurts so bad.
Oh, God. Poor Flex Seal. So the official cause of death was suicide.
Ooh.
And quote, this is from his wife, there's no way Chuck would have committed suicide. He would have never even contemplated suicide. He would have left a letter for his girls and for me. He shot himself with his own, he allegedly shot himself, with his own .357 Magnum that was lying next to his dead body.
Convenient.
And like I said, where did he shoot himself, you ask? Directly in the back of the fucking head. That doesn't work for me.
No.
This would be a pretty simple open and shut case as just dusting the used gun for fingerprints. Well, they did dust the gun for fingerprints. And the gun was completely free of any fingerprints, not even Chuck's fingerprints.
So it was wiped.
It was wiped. Not only was there no fingerprints on the gun, there were no fingerprints on the crime scene whatsoever. Yeah. And loaded in his car was a bunch of different weapons and a stockpile of ammunition. The crime scene investigators, they did find gunpowder on Chuck's hands, but it wasn't on his dominant hand. They found it on his left hand. He had a knife concealed in his belt buckle. His car had been modified so the door could be unlocked from the fender. In the back seat, police found one of Chuck's own teeth.
Oh, shit.
His own fucking tooth wrapped up in a white handkerchief.
Giving this to the tooth fairy. I'm going to get a pretty penny for this one. It's a molar.
I was thinking about the time we were talking about someone getting their dick cut off, and you're like, should have put that thing on milk. Should have put that fuck.
Give me some milk.
Listen, sir, I know this handkerchief is all you got, but I could really use a cup of milk for this tooth right now. Really need to put this thing in some tooth.
Someone want to please fucking come take out my wisdom teeth right now. You can do it, you know?
Oh, they're the worst.
Oh, God, they hurt so bad. They're huge. They're growing impacted and sideways. I just want to fucking blow my brains out.
Two of mine were sideways, and it was no fun.
The most damning piece of evidence here for me, though, they found a white piece of paper with directions that led directly to the spot where he lay dead, and the directions were in his own handwriting. So for me, I'm thinking that this was probably a meeting location he had directions to. And he went there, and someone got him.
Definitely.
It wasn't an instance of him killing himself. And near him were a pair of sunglasses that didn't belong to him, and there was a $2 bill clipped to the inside of his underwear. There were some drawings referencing Freemasonry, Illuminati, like I said. There were 7 Spanish names written on this $2 bill, beginning with the letters A to G, were written on the $2 bill. Acevedo, Berarano, Cairo, Duarte, Enquinas, Fuente, and Gradilas. Also written, Ecclesiastes 12 with arrows pointing to the serial number 1 and the serial number 8,
Hmm.
which is the same Bible verse that was mysteriously passed along to his wife via the telephone.
Right.
And this is written on the $2 bill inside of his underwear. None of this makes sense, does it?
I'm surprised you can see that through all the poop.
Once you get past the Flex Seal, there's going to be a $2 bill up my ass.
On the back,
And the $2 bill of all things, man, those are
hard to come by.
Yeah, they are.
I definitely wouldn't shove that up my ass.
hell no.
I'd spend it.
And keep that in mint.
On the back of the bill, the signers of the Declaration of Independence were numbered 1 through 7, and there was a roughly drawn map. This map represented the towns of Robles Junction and Solicity, an area between Tucson and Mexico known for drug smuggling. With all of this evidence present, the police said,
This is a suicide.
Gotta be.
This is a goddamn suicide.
I don't care what the evidence says.
I think the boy shot himself in the back of the head. Got some Flex Seal on his butthole. He might have just internally combusted and fucking died.
I don't know.
Who knows?
So let's shake this shit up a little bit more.
Sure, shake that bag of shit.
2 days after they found his body, so he's dead. He's been dead for 2 days.
Okay.
A woman going by the name Green Eyes, or Green Eyes the Slut.
Is this the police?
Hello.
This is Green
I
Eyes.
know what Green Eyes would sound like.
Okay.
Hey, this is Green Eyes.
Definitely what Green Eyes sounds like.
Obviously someone with brown eyes,
Yeah.
because every person with brown eyes sounds like that.
You know about the guy with the Flex Seal up his ass? Wife fed him piss with an eyedropper.
I know. The Green Eyes reached out to the police. She had information about old Chuck.
Okay.
She said she was with Chuck in between the time he went missing and when he died. This was indeed the same woman that called Ruth. Shortly before he died, he met old Green Eyes at a local roach motel. Once they met in a roach motel, like when you go there and you ring the doorbell, there's a little fucking cockroach that drives by on a dune buggy. That's what that is.
Okay.
Big ding dong, motherfucker.
Shortly before he died, he met old Green Eyes in a local roach motel. Once they met, he showed her a briefcase full of cash. Chuck told Green Eyes, the slut, the cash was being used... Sorry. The cash was being used to pay off a hitman that was being paid to kill him, Chuck. There was allegedly a contract on Chuck's head for $90,000, and it was going up $5,000 every day.
Oh, man.
And Green Eyes the Slut was telling the truth because police were able to corroborate all the elements of her story using CCTV and the records from the Southside Roach Motel. So she was being completely honest about everything she said.
Right.
So she was just Green Eyes. She was no longer Green Eyes the Slut at this
Okay.
point. Upon Ruth hearing all this information, the question was proposed to her. Did she think Chuck was fucking around on her? And to quote Ruth, she said, "A woman knows when her man has strayed, and Chuck hasn't strayed in 19 years. 3 weeks after he died, while his wife is still grieving over his death, 2 guys show up at their home claiming to be FBI agents. She said they barely flashed their badges before forcing their way into the home. They destroyed the fucking house and wouldn't say what they were looking for. Ruth was not able to confirm with the FBI that these were even real agents that ransacked the property. This is to quote her. They opened and closed their identification very fast. They said they wanted to come in and look around the house. They never said what they were looking for, and to this day, I don't even know what they were looking for. While Chuck's fucking car was in police impound, the goddamn thing was broken into.
Oh, wow. They were definitely searching.
I don't think the government would. I don't put anything past the government, but I don't think it doesn't seem like the actions of the government. Seems like the actions of organized crime,
Definitely.
the mafia,
Yeah,
something
definitely.
like that. An investigative reporter named Don Devereux, who we've referenced a couple times here, grabbed onto this long after it kind of turned into we'll call it a cold case, even though it was deemed a suicide. Through the Freedom of Information Act, he put in a request to the FBI for information linked to this case. the FBI reported back and said they had no fucking clue who Charles Chuck Morgan even was. Shortly upon Chuck's death, Chuck's attorney, Ronald Newman, confirmed that Chuck had indeed testified in a secret state investigation into Banco International de Arizona and a former director there that he was testifying against. There was an investigation into the banking department, and Chuck was called to testify. Through his investigations, the investigative reporter Don Devereux was able to confirm that Chuck was heavily involved in money laundering in the early 1970s. And in 1973, Chuck was using his escrow business to launder large sales of gold and platinum over $1 billion, mostly from Southeast Asia. Oh, God, is that where Aladdin's from?
I think so.
Oh, Arabian people like when I do Disney singing on here.
I can see why.
One jump into the... Morgan, Chuck, kept duplicate records. Oh, man, you done fucked up, Ron.
Oof.
Of these illegal transactions, hoping they would help him in the future. According to rumor, undercover CIA agents, people from the Department of Defense, and exile Vietnamese government officials were also involved. It is speculated that Morgan was killed for these records. Sorry, I ordered DoorDash, and it shouldn't be here, but it's really close. Morgan worked with at least one organized crime family who may have killed him if he found out too much. Some people believe that the mob put a hit on Morgan. Somehow word got out, and the hitman informed Morgan that he was going to be killed.
What a shitty hitman.
I know you probably think I'm here to just hang out with you, but I think they want me to fucking kill you, dude. I hate to tell you.
Like, yeah, I'm scheduled to come out and kill you. What are you doing Monday? Oh, Monday won't work. I got a doctor's appointment. What about Tuesday? Tuesday I gotta go take Susie to the doctor because she's getting her pussy checked.
I get the Flex Seal put on my butt. All on it.
I guess we'll have to meet up on Wednesday then.
You're not trying to fuck me, are you? No entry down there.
Morgan then decided he would buy himself out of the hit by giving the assassin the money in the briefcase he had at the motel. But when he met with the hitman in the desert, the hitman took the money and killed Morgan anyways.
Damn.
At the time of his death, Chuck was an involuntary witness for the Arizona General Attorney's Office inquest involving a bank. Also, he was a key witness in a secret state investigation on illegal activity on the Arizona and Mexico border. Prosecutors were building a case against a known organized crime family, and one of Chuck's daughters, Megan Heidi, claims her father knew a lot of secrets about important Tucson politicians.
Uh-oh.
I don't think a Tucson politician's going to be pulling on some shit like this, in my respectful opinion. On May 14th, 1990, this is 13 years after the fact, Doug Johnston, you guys don't know Doug Johnston, he was found shot outside of his place of employment. Police said it was a suicide as well. There was no gunpowder and no fucking gun.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Suicide!
Yeah.
He hid the gun, obviously, after he died.
And this was shortly after Devereux, the investigative reporter that picked up this case.
Mm-hmm.
Devereux went on Unsolved Mysteries about the murder, and Devereux lived across the street from Johnston and drove the same car as this fucking guy.
Oh, shit.
So the belief by Don Devereux is they put a hit out on him and they killed the wrong guy.
Oh, shit.
A year later, a journalist named Danny Casolaro contacted Devereux about some important information that he had gathered about Chuck Morgan's case, and he wanted to share the information with Don Devereux. So this guy sends and Devereux says, okay, mail me the information. Mail me the paperwork you want me to read. Before he could send it, a cleaning lady found Casolaro's dead body in a hotel bathroom in Martinsburg, West Virginia, where his wrist had been slashed 12 times with razor blades. All right, I go out there and get DoorDash.
Hell yeah, man.
I had chicken wings.
Nice.
It's going to be chicken wings. I'm going to eat it. Just a minute.
Then you're going to turn it into shit.
I'm going to turn it into poop. But Casolaros left a suicide note that said, "To my loved ones, please forgive me. Most especially my son, and be understanding. God will let me in." Casolaro's family refused to accept that he would commit suicide, especially with a razor, as he was deathly afraid of needles and blood.
Okay.
And to this day, Chuck Morgan's death is still a complete mystery.
Damn.
And his wife Ruthie, she passed away in 2006.
Oh.
Yeah, and Rob and I thought about doing a cold call with this Don Devereux guy. You think we should do it?
You could try.
We're gonna try and call this guy real quick.
We'll see what happens.
Don.
Yeah, Devereux.
Hi, is Don available?
Speaking.
Hey, hi Don. My name is Nick Alexander. I'm from Ohio, and I do a podcast, and we're covering the Chuck Morgan case.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you would, if you had a few minutes that you could talk to us for 10 minutes here, or if you're busy.
No, go ahead. I'll be happy to talk to you.
Awesome. We were, I wanted to call. I called earlier this week, and I don't know if you were having phone problems or what, but I was having a definite hard time trying to get through to you for whatever reason.
Well, I've got a little cheap flip phone.
Oh, it's okay.
It doesn't take messages very well, so it is what it is. But
that's all right.
You got me now. Well, let me plug it in so it doesn't the battery doesn't run down. Hold on.
Great. It's so cool he's doing this for us. This cold calling.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So I have family out in Phoenix. I visit there a lot. Are you still in the Tucson area, or?
I'm in Tempe. I'm in Tempe, just outside of Phoenix.
Okay, that's where last time I was down there, I stayed about 2 minutes from the In-N-Out Burger in Tempe, and I ate there about 10 times.
Okay, well, not from where I'm living. So.
Okay.
So how can I help you?
Sure. My name is Nick, and I'm here with my co-host Rob, and we got done covering the Chuck Morgan case. We did about an hour and a half on it, and I said, you know what? I think we can try calling Don, as he's like the authority on this case. So I just want to say thank you for taking our call first off.
No problem.
So what we're most intrigued by is kind of what unfolded after you went on Unsolved Mysteries. Kind of take us through what happened in your life after you went on Unsolved Mysteries.
Well, the Morgan case was not the big thing in my life. I was working on the Don Bowles homicide, and the Morgan case was kind of an offshoot of working on the Bowles case. So I was busy doing other things, but the Morgan case, as far as I was concerned, was fairly well resolved in the aftermath of. We did 2 segments, I think, on Unsolved Mysteries, touching on it. We got more than one phone call identifying who the shooter had been. And I'm pretty sure that was accurate information. We've identified a likely shooter as a professional hitman out of Pennsylvania, working for the Bruno Scarfo family at that time, and obviously brought in by Joe Bonanno to basically kill Mr. Morgan.
Yeah.
So the information about the shooter was conveyed to law enforcement. The sources, at least a couple of the sources we had, were interviewed by law enforcement out of Tucson at the time. And a decision was made in Tucson not to pursue prosecution based on the age of the case, the fact that the sheriff's file was missing, which didn't help, and also because of some complications involving relationship between the witnesses and the alleged shooter. So I kind of concur. It would have been a difficult case to prosecute. Initially, the sheriff's office tried to call it a suicide, and that would have complicated things as well. So you had a very difficult prosecution, but I think law enforcement was satisfied that we had accurate information. They just decided it wasn't a case they could effectively prosecute. The only sort of unsolved mystery that has remained was the $2 bill that we found in Mr. Morgan's shorts. I didn't find, but cops did after he was killed.
There's a lot going on with that.
And we've never been able to figure out exactly what that was all about. It was obviously a cryptic message of some sort, a coded message that Morgan had left behind to be found if he was killed. And precisely what we were to infer from it is unclear. I don't know to this day.
Well, I know he told his father that if something did happen to him, there would be a letter or a note left behind. Do you think this is the note that he mentioned to his father?
I think it was maybe part of it. After he was killed, his house was searched by a couple of guys posing as FBI agents. They were not FBI agents. And the house was pretty thoroughly searched. Books were opened and tossed, and all kinds of stuff was gone through.
So they were looking for that note.
It's quite likely if he did leave anything behind that it got found when that search was conducted.
Oh God!
The $2 bill may have been a part of a coded message, and we didn't have the rest of it to work with. It may have had something that would have helped us resolve what was in the letter that he left behind. I talked to some people at NSA about that, and they suspected that the $2 bill was simply part of a book code, and that we didn't have the rest of it to work with.
Oh man!
So it may be that the letter was the other piece of it, and it's gone. The $2 bill had a map on the back of it, a smuggling map, evidently involving the Mexican border. It had 7 people identified from a painting of the Declaration of Independence signing, all of whom were Masons, as it were.
Okay.
And the inscription, the biblical inscription, is one used in Masonic rituals, and Morgan was very active as a Mason in the Tucson area at the time of his death. So there obviously was a lot of loaded Masonic and biblical stuff in the $2 bill, but we're damned if we know what to make of it, and maybe we'll never know.
Okay.
And that's about the only thing that's unsolved in the whole thing.
Do you think he was mixed up with the cartel at all as well?
No, Morgan was involved with the Bonanno family as a guy doing escrow work, initially for money laundering, and later in a gold operation that Bonanno was involved with organized crime, and I think eventually even the CIA was involved in some of it. And Morgan was suspected by Bonanno of posing a security risk to his operation. It was discovered that Morgan was keeping an awful lot of records of some of the dealings that he was involved in with Bonanno. And I think Bonanno got nervous about that.
Okay.
And decided to recover the records and kill Mr. Morgan in the process, which he did.
It kind of seems to me like he was being hunted by both ends. He was being hunted by the crime family, and he might have had people from the federal government after him as well, in my opinion.
Well, he was killed by mob people. I don't think the agency was involved in killing him. The FBI was involved in helping to cover it up, possibly for purposes of protecting the CIA's role.
Yeah.
The agency at that time was involved in bringing in around $200 billion in gold out of the Philippines and Southeast Asia. That was a product of the Second World War. The Japanese army had hidden an awful lot of stolen booty, mostly in gold,
right,
from Southeast Asia, variously at Cam Bay in Vietnam and scattered across the Philippines. And the agency began in roughly 1973 or so. It began moving that stuff out and back in reclamation and selling it in the international bullion black market. And the agency was using an operation already established by organized crime to launder stolen gold. They simply piggybacked what they were doing on top of the mob's process.
Right.
And Morgan was involved as an escrow agent in selling that stuff.
Okay.
When he was killed, the FBI stepped in and confiscated all of his business records.
Oh.
Everything that he had. And then later denied that they had anything. Later claimed that they didn't know anybody was talking about if the records were asked about, and they were not returned to his family. That would have included the stuff he was doing for the agency.
And I read when you reached out for the Freedom of Information Act to the FBI, initially it was portrayed to you that they had no idea who this guy even was.
That's true. They denied knowing who I was talking about. And I later discovered that there was an amendment to the Freedom of Information Act allowing the FBI to, in effect, lie if national security interests were involved.
Okay.
And I presume that's what they did here, since this was helping to cover up what was a fairly large-scale movement of illegal gold by the agency. out of Southeast Asia and back into the United States. The agency, in effect, had a slush fund as a consequence. It didn't have to go to Congress for money for a while for little wars it was conducting. And this kind of thing was, $200 billion is a lot of money, at least for me it would be.
Oh, yeah.
And it gave the agency, the agency back in the day was conducting like 7 little wars around the world, in Angola and Nicaragua and all kinds of places. And they were able, in effect, to use some of this money to finance agency operations that they didn't want to go to Congress to explain. But the FBI basically, I think it was authorized under the amendment to FOIA, just lie to me, and that's what they did. They just flat lied. But there was no question they were involved. There were even articles in the press in Tucson about the FBI being involved in the investigation.
I also understand through my research that you are under the assumption that there might have been some attempts to possibly take your life through this process. Can you explain that to us?
There was my neighbor was shot in roughly 1980, as I recall. When I was living in Phoenix, and we had an office in Phoenix, and my neighbor was shot one evening about 11 o'clock, right across the street from me. And I later was told by both Israeli and U.S. intelligence sources that was a mistaken identity shoot, that I was the target and the shooter was on the wrong side of the street and got the wrong guy.
Oh, my God.
And Unsolved Mystery did a little segment about that. We did a whole program about that, ultimately. But I was called by a colonel in Israeli military intelligence, and I was called by the bureau chief for the San Francisco Chronicle in D.C., who had been briefed by a high-level CIA official. And both of those phone calls basically warned me that I was the target, and be careful because it could be coming around again.
Oh,
and
God.
I got a blurb on Unsolved Mysteries very quick. Went out to Burbank, and they very quickly put something on the air that indicated that they would have a big problem if something happened to me, and the problem seemed to go away, which I'm grateful for.
Oh, we're grateful for too. You're a great interview. I'm going to be honest with you. This has been you've been a great interview so far. So I'm glad that plan to whatever they wanted to do to you. I'm glad that plan was not.
Well, I'm kind of glad too. I'm sorry somebody was killed. The guy that was killed was a young man named Doug Johnston.
Sure.
He was a computer draftsman working on a night shift at a company right across the street from me, and I was living at that time at 2233 West Northern, and he was at 2238.
Oh, okay.
And you can write a 3 that looks like an 8, and an 8 looks like a 3.
You sure
and
can.
I think the shooter had misinterpreted the address, and was right across the street from me at 8 instead of 3. And Johnston drove a station wagon that looked exactly like mine, a copper-colored Toyota station wagon. And he had facial hair.
Oh.
And when he drove into his parking spot about 11 o'clock that night, he never even got out of the car. The window was down. It was summertime. He got shot once behind the left ear by a .25 caliber, probably a Beretta, which is a classic agency shoot. It shuts down the autonomic and nervous system immediately. Back of the left ear, you're just going instantly. I've seen people bleed more from nicks shaving than this guy bled from a gunshot.
Did they say it was a suicide? Did I read that?
Well, there was an effort at one point by the cops to suggest that it might have been, although there was no gun at the scene.
That would make it'd be hard to cover up.
And their argument was, well, maybe somebody came by and picked it up. But the fact of the matter is, the body was discovered very quickly after this happened. He was coming to work at around 11 o'clock, and when he didn't show up, the office phoned his home to see what the problem was. And somebody was at his home got concerned, obviously, because knew he had already left driving for work. So they followed where he would have driven, thinking maybe they would find the car broken down. And they got all the way to his parking spot, found the car with him in it. So he was found within minutes, literally, of when he was killed.
Oh, wow.
I don't think any stranger came by and picked up a gun. I think that's unlikely. And he had no reason to kill himself. He was happily married and had a good job.
Yeah.
He was not suicidal, as far as I can tell.
Right.
And then I had 2 quick warnings that obviously made me be concerned about it. I can't tell you that I know for an absolute fact what happened to this guy. I just can tell you what I was told and what it looked like, and that's what it looked like. And I suspect it was a mistaken identity shooting, but you never know.
You never know. Well, Don, I'm very appreciative that you took our call and you were able to give us a few minutes of your time here. We're gonna edit this up and release it, but I can't thank you enough for taking a few minutes to talk to us. Has there been any revelations in the past few years, or is this case kind of closed for you at this point?
Well, the shooter we identified at the time, who was out of Pennsylvania when this happened, out of Wilkes-Barre.
Are you allowed to say his name?
I'm not going to. I could, but I'm not going to.
Okay, I understand.
He's still out there, and
don't say his name.
I'm not worried about him, but I don't want to get involved in court with him either, one way or the other.
Right, sure.
He is now retired. When I tracked him down, I actually tracked him down and interviewed him in Florida some years after he had done this, and very curious conversation. When I reached him in Florida, a lady he was living with, I think a subsequent wife, answered the phone. And I identified myself and asked to speak to him. And he got on the phone, and the first thing he said to me was, I was expecting to hear from you.
Oh, wow.
Which, he knew I was looking for him.
I'd have crapped my pants, Don.
Well, he was obviously waiting for the shoe to drop because he knew I've been looking for him in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I think people that I had talked to in Pennsylvania had alerted him that there was a journalist looking for him.
Well, typically, Don, people from the mafia go looking for people. There's never instances where just people go looking for hitmen or people go looking for members of the mafia. So I commend you for having the stones to do that, Don.
Well, he basically said that. Ironically, he's back living in Arizona. He's living in Sedona. Okay. Last I looked.
Beautiful spot.
Beautiful spot, and he's not the first hitman that I'm aware of to retire there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, jeez.
I haven't gone up knocking on his door for any reason yet, but I might if I ever have a reason to go up there. Just go by and offer to take him out and buy him a cup of coffee. But he is, as far as I know, he's living on Coffee Pot Lane in Sedona.
Oh, wow.
And I wish him well. He's well up in his 70s now, and I'm sure he's retired. And I understand from another member of his family that the Morgan shooting was not the only one that he did.
Oh, I'm sure
he was
not.
a guy that he did apparently a fair amount of work for the Bruno Scarfo family out of Philadelphia at that time. They were one of the families using the money laundering operation that Bonanno had set up in southern Arizona. And apparently when Bonanno wanted Morgan hit, he reached out to the Bruno Scarfo family to bring somebody in from Pennsylvania to do the job. And this guy was brought in because he had spent a couple of years at the University of Arizona in Tucson as a younger man, so he was familiar with Tucson area.
That makes sense.
But, and as I say, he's now back living in the state, which is a little peculiar, but he's here. And that's about all I can tell you in terms of new developments.
Okay. Well, that's perfect, man. I usually when we call people, we're like, we don't know how it's going to be, but you were really receptive. Thank you for that, and you gave us a lot of really good information.
Well, there's nothing top secret about any of this, and
sure. But it's just like we got our half-assed research, and then we got the millions and millions of hours that you've poured into it. So I feel like we got the authority here on this case. So I'm really.
How did you get interested in the Morgan case to begin with?
Well, we do a strange case every week, whether it's aliens or a paranormal or a murder of some type. And I come across this murder in my research, and I said, man, this is a really strange story. And then for every news article or for every website I went through, it referenced you, and then I Googled your name, and then your site came up. And then you had a phone number here. I said, this guy, and I'm reading through all your research and all this stuff, all the time you've devoted to it. I said, this guy knows this thing in and out, and he's broke the case open, and he's not even the people, the agency that was handling the investigation. So I said, we got to talk to this guy. But like I said, we cover something weird every week, and this is definitely weird, Don.
It was a strange case, and it is strange still. And if you can figure out the $2 bill, give me a jingle.
Oh, I think I think between the two of us, we have a combined IQ of about 4. So I don't think you have to worry about us.
You don't have to worry about us. We ain't figured nothing out.
All right.
All right, Don.
Good luck. Good luck to you. Bye-bye.
All right, take
Thank
care,
you,
buddy.
sir.
Oh man, what a
Wow, that was awesome.
That was fucking awesome, man. Out of all the interviews we've done, that was up there.
And that was literally no planning at all either. We were just like, oh, let's cold call him.
I said, Rob, I got his number, and I was like, should we call him? Rob's like, I don't know.
I'm just not. I'm not expecting anything. I'm expecting people to hear that and be like, yeah, I don't want to fucking waste my time doing this.
Wow.
You know.
So what a cool dude. He's an older guy. He just covers these cases out of the goodness of his heart. Man, what an awesome guy.
That's awesome. I'm glad we got to talk to him.
And next time I go to Arizona, I'm going to Coffee Cup Lane or whatever. I'm going to find that fucking
Coffee
dude,
pot lane.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
I'm going to find him. I'm going to kiss him on the mouth. See if he does anything to me. Well, guys, you got a bonus interview there. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm going to eat my chicken wings
Hell
now.
yeah. All right. Love you guys.
Well, I love Dawn. I'm going to end it like that.
Okay.
I love you.